This isn't inevitable. These kids weren't unlucky.
For God's sake, how much more carnage are we willing to accept?
This only happens in this country and nowhere else.
The so-called gun debate has become so prominent in the United States that many people probably assume the issue has been raging since the birth of our nation.
How many more innocent American lives must be taken before we say enough, enough?
Find a path forward here. Work with us to find a way to pass laws that make this less likely.
Recently in America, schools have had to increase security in order to keep their students safe. As a result, parents have had to have tough conversations with their children, warning them about the dangers of the world. Sadly, these dangers are showing up in school, and students have had to become more afraid. Some won't even show up for school at all.
Imagine being that little girl, that brave little girl in Uvalde, who smeared blood off her murdered friend's body on her own face, to lie still among the corpses in her classroom and pretend she was dead in order to stay alive.
Our family is distraught every single day. There's still no closure. There's still pending investigations. You know, Irma was my cousin, my first cousin. She was a wonderful, wonderful lady. She would have done anything for anybody at any time. Joe, her husband, died a couple of days later, as everybody knows. He could not have been without her.
Nowhere else do little kids go to school thinking that they might be shot that day.
Since 2018, there have been a total of 133 shootings nationally. Prior to 2022, the highest number of school shootings with injuries or deaths was last year, numbering 35. Even before that, there were 10 in 2020 and 24 in both 2019 and 2018. This year alone, there have been at least 152 incidences of gunfire on school grounds, resulting in 50 deaths, 122 injuries. So why is this happening, and what, if anything, can be done to prevent it?
The American people, as many as 80 or 90%, support gun safety legislation. We have an obligation to pursue every path and explore every realistic option to break the cycle of suffering and inaction.
I don't think the answer is more gun control. I don't think that's the answer. I really don't. If I did, I'd be for it, but it's not. It's not the answer. It's not going to make our schools safer. And frankly, it's a violation of a Second Amendment right that you have as an American.
I pray for everybody in school every day. I pray for parents. I pray for teachers, kids, just to be safe, just to have a normal life like it used to be.
In Sandy Hook Elementary School, after those kids came back into those classrooms, they had to adopt a practice in which there would be a safe word that the kids would say if they started to get thoughts in their brain about what they saw that day.
So many lives have been impacted by the horrific shootings that have taken place in our school systems. The mental toll that this puts on the families of these victims is so lucid that they will forever be changed. Legislation needs to be put in place immediately to help keep us safe from the horrors that could and will continue if nothing is done. We as individuals, school officials, state and national legislation need to learn from this and grow. We must band together to fight against this assault.
Not trying everything is not acceptable to the families who have lost their loved ones to our nation's gun epidemic, to those beautiful children we see pictures of in the newspaper and their families. We have to try everything. We must not leave a single stone unturned.
6-year-old girl played dead among the bodies of her classmates. She was the only one to survive in that room. Covered in blood, the first thing she said was, "Mommy, I'm okay, but all my friends are dead."
Schools should absolutely hire armed professional guards to protect the children and the infrastructure of the school as well. We do a lot of things to keep kids safe in schools, right? We have guidance counselors to guide them. There's, associate principals to deal with disciplinary issues. There's even normal counselors, like mental health counselors for kids, and there's school nurses. So we do all these other capacities to help protect children that the schools pay for. This one should be one we do as well.
Having people equipped and ready to respond in the school I think is a huge part of it. The fallacy of a gun-free zone is just idiotic to me.
I'm optimistic that we could pass a bill in the Senate. It can pass the House and it will get a signature by President Biden. It will become law of the land. And what is the test of that legislation? It is, to me, not whether it meets your ideological standard of what the bill should look like, but it's simply this: will it save lives?
I just don't want any children, any kids, any teachers to be hurt and to have the impact of a situation like that happen to their family, because there's no coming back from it, no matter how hard you try.
As a student, I believe that this topic is extremely important and could help save lives. Being in a safe environment is imperative for successful learning, and successful learning helps form prosperous adults who can make this world a better place.